Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Market Down Podcast. My name is Nick Cummings, and we will be doing things a little differently this week. With many of us on vacation for the holidays, we decided to give you all a gift instead. Back in January, we recorded a Royal Rumble prediction show, giving some of our predictions, going over some of the news from back then, which mostly revolved around Ronda Rousey's return. And then we went and discussed some of our favorite past Royal Rumbles. Now, unfortunately, that episode never made it to air. I don't remember why. It got lost somehow, and unfortunately, we never put it up. But the discussion about the past Royal Rumbles was really good and really funny and a little bit heated, mostly on my end, because I was right about what I was talking about. So, instead of doing a new episode today, we've decided to give you all the gift of this wonderful argument that we had back all the way in January. So, past Nick, take it away. So, as we have tried, let us now move on to some of our favorite Royal Rumbles. James, I imagine you've probably watched the majority of them, so I'm going to start with you.
How old do you think I am?
No, I just meant like going back and watching them.
43.
That too.
I have watched every Royal Rumble from 2000 on. So I've watched 21 Royal Rumbles. And wow, that's a hard number to hear out loud.
Well, no, because you got to add the women's ones from the past couple of years too.
Yowie, wowie.
Oh, you mean pay-per-views? You watch 20?
Yes, please,
okay.
Thank you. Please, numbers got to go down. It's like I said, the Royal Rumble is absolutely one of my favorite events of the year, and it's one of my favorite matches in wrestling. I just love multi-man mashups.
Pause. As Chad was saying.
Sorry, Jimothy.
I don't
Proceed.
think you are. I don't think you are, Chad. And I don't think you are either, Rev.
I didn't apologize.
That's fair. So, okay. What is the question? What are my favorite Rumbles?
Yeah, Rumble moment. I don't know. Give us Rumble stuff that you loved.
I mean, we talked about it earlier. I love the 2001 Rumble. Kane going on that tear is amazing. It sucks that he didn't win the Rumble, but at the same time, how much does it suck? Because Austin won, and that led to WrestleMania 17's main event, which is just legendary. So I love the 2001 Royal Rumble. I love the 2000 Royal Rumble, the only Royal Rumble that The Rock technically won but really didn't win, and it's such a good Rumble in so many ways. I love the 2020 Royal Rumble. I like it. The 2020 Royal Rumble is one of those Rumbles that you watch it as it's happening, at least for me. And I thought, wow, they're really doing this. They're just having Brock just decimate the roster, and what the fuck am I watching? And then, oh shit, Keith Lee's kind of giving him a little bit of a run here. Oh shit, Ricochet. Oh, fun. That's funny. Good for you, Ricochet. Oh fuck, Drew McIntyre. Oh fuck, Drew McIntyre. Like that. I can't remember popping that big for a Royal Rumble in a long time prior to that. And rewatching that Rumble, I think it's one of the most perfect Rumbles they've ever had. I think it's so beautifully booked from beginning to end. Yeah, does it suck that a just returning John Morrison gets eliminated in like 0.5 seconds? Yeah, but in the long run, it's amazing.
It was 9, by the way, 9 seconds.
God in heaven. You have so many good Brock moments with like him and Shelton Benjamin, him and Keith Lee, him and mystery Rumble guy showing up, probably Elias, possibly.
Elias made it a whole minute.
We're never going to see Elias again.
He's just going to be known as the Drifter. That's just what he's going to be. but yeah, I love that Rumble. I've really, and Drew winning and just being an absolute boss in the process. Loved it. Love that Rumble.
Yeah, that was actually on my list too. So obviously the Rumble pretty much lands on my birthday weekend every year. That was the Sunday at the tail end of a very long birthday weekend for me a few years ago. And for those of you who don't remember, that was also the day Kobe Bryant died.
Oh, yeah.
I was having a pretty rough day that day, and after such a good couple of days with my birthday. So I ended up at a buddy's house to finish off the bender, and watching this Rumble just cheered me up so much, and it was so good. The Brock stuff was great. James mentions the Keith Lee interaction with Brock's like, that's a big motherfucker, or whatever he said. That's a big boy. Like, he was so impressed with Lee. It was so good. Edge returned. We're not going to mention that fact. I think when he come back, he came back at 21. I think I had that number actually in the Squared Circle Royal Rumble pool. Sign up for that before it closes. Just the amount of fun I had with that Rumble was so good. It was a loud Rumble, and I enjoyed the ever living hell out of it. So, Chad, we'll move on to you now. Any of your favorite Rumble moments? Any of your favorite Rumbles specifically? And,
Absolutely.
any other memories you have involving them? Sorry.
I've come prepared for this. As James said, the year 2000 was probably my favorite Royal Rumble ever. I actually have James beat. I've been watching Rumble since I think 97 up until now. And I've also, since, as soon as I got the network, I also started watching the ones from the late 80s and the early 90s. Let me paint a picture for you, Rev, because I know you weren't watching then. 2000, you have The Rock. Pre-Hollywood Rock, I mean, on the rise Rock, the best Rock you could ever imagine at his pinnacle. You have Big Show, who is a super huge competitor. He's kind of not at the pinnacle, but he's kind of getting there. He's making his strides. And you just have those two as the final two. And then The Rock almost Hurricane Rana's Big Show over the top rope. And then the next day, the history behind it shows that The Rock didn't really win. Big Show won, and they fight for months. And then The Rock headlines Mania, and he still doesn't win. It was a really hard year for The Rock, but it was great promo-wise. That's my absolute favorite, 2000. 2009 sticks out for me because I'm a huge Orton fan. Also, again, with the history, they wanted to fire Orton. He punted Vince McMahon. Then he punted Shane McMahon. Then he punted RKO'd Stephanie and kissed her. And Triple H wanted to kill him. And then he ended up winning the Rumble. And he's like, there's nothing you can do about it. You can't fire me. I'm supposed to have my title match for him to go to WrestleMania. That was good. And then last but not least, I picked three. 2010 to me was phenomenal. You have CM Punk cutting promos in between each elimination as he's in the Straight Edge Society. We have Beth Phoenix eliminating Great Khali. Everybody knows I'm a huge Beth fan. And then I love Edge. Edge won. Shit was good for me. Honorable mention, 2008, the Cena return and win. That was a great one. And then 2018 with the women's one.
Yeah, 2008 was one of my honorable mentions as well, just because of that ridiculous pop for Cena.
Yo,
that as a Cena fan, to actually hear that man get cheered it was such a surreal moment. Like I still my young brain couldn't process him getting cheered when I was like one of the few that was actively cheering him at the time.
Yeah. Shout out Hornswoggle eliminating Miz in that match, by the way. I was looking it up. I was like, oh, what year did Cena come back? And I found it. Now I'm looking at all the ridiculous shit that happened in that one.
That was a good one. That was a really stacked Rumble.
It really was.
Yeah, there's a lot of random people in it though. Like Roddy Piper showed up, Snooker showed up.
Yeah.
Well, they had their little stare down in it.
Yeah. Tommy Dreamer was in it. Like it was a lot of people. All right. Danny, your turn. What do you got for us?
Oh man, so real quick, I just want to comment on James's everything he said about the 2020 Rumble, because it is it's one of the few years where WWE really figured out how to capitalize on the Rumble. And I'm gonna argue that I like my Rumble that I'm gonna talk about the most, like more, but the 2020 Rumble was the best one for the like for the winner, like for making the star. Like that was the best, like for doing that and using the Rumble to the full effect. But it's funny I had 2010 on my list too, because like everything Chad said with Punk in the beginning, with Beth eliminating him. Also, that was I just had his first Rumble return there. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not the same Rumble where, that started, or not started, but was a big part of Shawn Michaels' obsession with facing The Undertaker again. And like that was one of the few like Rumble eliminations where like I felt genuinely sad, not because like I wanted him to win, but because he was so good at telling the story that like I felt bad for him. I was like, oh, you got to find another way to take her now, and that was the catalyst of that story. So I had 2010 up there. 2001, it's like I think most people say it's the best Rumble of all time, and I agree. But I'm also with Chad where it's like it would have been my favorite Rumble of all time if Kane had won instead of Stone Cold for a third fucking time. If they did that now, Stone Cold would get booed because it'd be like, no, fuck that. It's 3 times is too much. But I'm going to talk about the 2018 Rumble because it's actually the best Rumble ever, especially in terms of the Rumble match, where, like I said, the 2020 might have been the best in terms of like using the Rumble to propel a star to the main event scene. And 2018, you can't say that because everything that happened after, but the Rumble itself was fucking phenomenal. And you know what? The first half of it was great, but I'm only going to talk about the second half of it because this is the best final 6 into a final 4, into a final 3, into a final 2, into a winner ever. Ever. It's so perfect. First of all, you redeemed Rey Mysterio by having him come out at 30 and get cheered like fucking crazy when just 4 years earlier he came out at number 30 and got booed the most he's ever been booed in his career and ever will. Fucking beautiful. Also, he came back jacked, whereas like Rey Mysterio before he left was kind of in terrible shape. Rey Mysterio came back unfucking believable, like a whole another person. So that's already great. I'm not even that big a Rey Mysterio fan, but I just felt good for him at that moment.
Yeah, he deserved it.
Yeah, absolutely. Then you have, or no, he didn't come out 30, but still, he came out like 29. But you still redeemed him coming out in a Rumble and not getting the fucking shit booed. But that final 6 stare down, when they had Finn, Nakamura, and Reigns staring off with Rey, Cena, and Orton, like the 2 generations, the past and present. First of all, Reigns isn't getting booed in that moment because he's on the same side as Nakamura and Finn Balor. Fucking beautiful. They have that interaction so good, so self. It was one of the few times where WWE seemed like very self-aware that they had Orton, Cena, and Rey, and they knew they were the bad guys in that scenario, and they wrestled for that 2 minutes as the bad guys. And then you get the eliminations. You get Balor throwing over Rey, and I forgot who eliminated Orton. Like you have that. So now you have the final 4, and all of a sudden the dynamics change. Now it's Balor and Nakamura, the NXT guys, the indie guys, the New Japan guys, versus Cena and Reigns, the people everyone is so sick of, the people that we're supposed to cheer but have been booing for years now at this point. And it's so good. And Balor gets eliminated. Everyone's pissed. He was the Iron Man. He started at number 1. He came down to the final 4, lasted 59 minutes. Fantastic. Now it's Nakamura against the 2 faces of the company, the 2 people everyone's sick of, the 2 people that are shoved down your throat to the degree where it's like, oh no, oh fucking no. First of all, Nakamura's elimination of Cena was one of the cooler Rumble eliminations. Very cool. Then it's Nakamura Reigns. And look, this is a repeated formula now. Like they did it the year before to get Orton cheered when he won the Rumble, but they perfected it this year. And then they recycled it again in 2020 with Drew because it fucking works. Like it just does, you know, like at least they're self-aware enough to use Reigns in that capacity, you know? And then they have a good like 3-4 minute back and forth and Nakamura gets the win. The roof blows off the place and it is just so amazing. It is fantastic. I'm describing how good this final six was because just the complete what Rumble can you think of where the dynamics are so fluent and are changing as every elimination happens. The dynamic of the match changes, not just because of who's left, but because of how those people are now perceived. Like they didn't necessarily turn heel or face during the match, but their characters went from being heels and faces or being the person you're supposed to boo or cheer as every elimination occurred. And it was beautiful. Like that is honestly way better than WWE is capable of. Like, you know, as good as 2020 was with Brock, like, of course they can do that right. That's right up their wheelhouse, having Brock dump out everyone so that when he gets eliminated, everyone goes crazy. Like, that was easy for them. 2018 was something unreal. They'll never do that again. They'll never have anything as complex and interesting as that final six ever again.
One of my favorite parts of that is Cena yelling at the top of his lungs, Shinsuke now, because they literally couldn't hear anything. It was both you talk too much and it was that loud in that arena. I had honestly forgotten what year that was, and you just re-describing it to me it should have been on my list.
And that was the start of Rumbles becoming good again.
Yeah.
Like that ended the
agree.
really bad spell of 2011 to 2017 of really upsetting and disappointing Rumbles.
It's true. And I think the only reason it doesn't rank higher for me, and it's not fair to the match itself, but the truth is
it's because of everything that happened after.
Yeah, Mania just ruined it for me. But the match itself is fantastic. You're absolutely right. And man, let's just get Nakamura to win again. Let's just fuck it. Let's go crazy. Let's go crazy. Let's have Nakamura win the Rumble this year.
And then he could lose again at WrestleMania.
Oh man.
Well, he's got Rick Boogs with him now, so maybe he's got a
Rick
little
Boogs
extra
is
hope.
going to do better in the Rumble than Nakamura.
Oh, absolutely. I defy anyone to tell me. I don't want to get into it, but I defy anyone to tell me that Rick Boogs wasn't designed for NXT 2.0.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I like
Elias
Rick Boogs.
2.0, so it makes sense.
God, that hurt, but that's true. I like Rick Boogs, by the way. I really
I like
do.
Elias, so I don't even use that as too much of an insult.
But oh man,
No, Rick Boogs is just plugged in Elias. Like Elias goes acoustic, Boogs goes electric.
That's funny.
He's
That's
cocaine
funny.
Elias.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if Elias is Dylan, I'm trying to think of who Rick Boogs would be. And I'm just not thinking of anybody off the top of my head. At least so what is he? He's not, because he's not Hendrix.
I mean, I think he's supposed to be Freddie Mercury. Like,
yeah.
He literally he cut his hair and now he looks a lot like him. He has like the mustache. Like
I do have just I'm sorry, I just got to go back to two Rumbles that I feel bad because I didn't go too in depth into mine.
Go, please.
I this is probably the most controversial opinion I'm gonna give.
Boo, I already don't like it.
Yeah. I love the 2004 Rumble.
Oh, that's not.
Chris
that was
Benoit.
a great Rumble.
Yeah, that's the Benoit Rumble.
That's top 5 for me. Like
that Rumble was fire.
No, everything associated with the man tends to, be frowned upon now. But I love that Rumble, man.
was fire.
It doesn't mean it wasn't good. Like you can separate them. Like we're not saying he should be in the Hall of Fame because he shouldn't.
Yeah, no, definitely.
It was a great Rumble. And that was a great WrestleMania main event. Like
Quiet as kept. That whole year was like a really stacked year. Even coming with Randy winning at SummerSlam, that was a good year in wrestling.
It really was, and I love that match. I love the finish with him and Big Show. Just the little man taking out the big man. It was gorgeous, and there were just so many that era. Like I hate being that person because I love this era of wrestling. but like that era of wrestling was just like, it felt like every name was a big name back then for the most part. And again, I know that's just nostalgia, but like that match was just so fucking good.
No, it was. And it
Yeah.
still
It was a good
holds up.
rumble.
I actually just
Absolutely.
watched it like
Yeah.
2-3 weeks ago.
Right? It's so good. And I'm just gonna say it. I hate the 2005 Royal Rumble.
That's Triple H.
No,
that's Batista.
That's Batista,
Batista.
With the
With
Cena
John
finish.
Cena and Vince. Oh my god.
Yeah, with Vince tearing his quads, running
Oh.
into the ring.
Oh no, that one was good as well. Besides Vince,
No,
Nick's
like
Vince.
No, Vince was the best part.
Yeah, no, like
like
I will never forget as a kid, because at that point now there are 2 titles, obviously.
Mhm.
I will never forget as a kid thinking, wow, they got eliminated at the same time. Batista's on Raw, Cena's on SmackDown. Cena could go for the WWE title and Batista could go for the World Heavyweight title. This is perfect. And then Vince comes out and he's like, no,
Restart
you're
the
not
match.
getting that. Restart it.
Was-
Cena loses. And then they still do it anyway at Mania. Why not
So-
just have that be like, it's not even the first time. Like they've had a 2-person winner before with Bret Hart and Lex Luger at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I remember.
So like this might make you a little happy, James, but as much as you know, I was in my sound mind to boo John Cena from like 2008 through like present, you know, I'll always take Cena over Batista any day of the week. Like,
Yep.
but so you know, but was
Well-
that the year that oh,
Well-
Batista's overrated, bro. I'll shit on Batista, like
No.
that's a whole nother thing, but like
He is. However, in his defense, 2005 Batista was set up really good.
He
Well,
was.
in my-
He was set
in
up
his
for Triple
defense
H.
as well. I barely watched it this time, so I didn't care.
Oh, okay, yeah, he was over. He was working good angles. He was all
Everything
right.
they did was right. I'm not disagreeing with how they pushed him. I'm just saying, like, I don't care about Batista. But was what I was gonna ask you, James, because I'm not sure. Maybe I assume you'd be the guy to know this. Was that the year that kind of started the trend of like the runner-up just ends up going for the other title anyway?
It became a very
Yep.
prominent thing. It became
Dude, it
well,
never ended. That was
no.
always-
2004 was because top 4, and then he ended up going for the WWE title the next pay-per-view, No Way Out. So it really kind of started in 2004, but 2005 cemented it with the runner-up actually being the guy to do it.
Okay.
It's just was Big Show on Raw or SmackDown that year? He flip-flopped so much that I really don't remember.
Literally,
Story of his
every
life.
time
Yeah,
I
it's
hear
been
Big
more-
Show,
More
I
or
only
less than
think-
heel and face flip flopping.
yeah, no, literally.
God.
The only thing I got for the 2004 Rumble is that gave us the classic line for years. Only 2 men have won the Rumble from the first position, and one of them was Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
Now you can say 3 because the other one is Edge.
Yeah.
My boy.
That was bad. That was still bad. He shouldn't have won. You guys can never convince me otherwise. Edge winning was a terrible idea.
I'll
was-
say it was terrible due to the aftermath, of course.
At the time, it was terrible. It was
I-
just a dumb idea.
I'd say
Edge
I
is a
don't.
smart guy. That was the dumbest idea he's ever had.
I I think that should have been the year Brian won.
I agree.
Agreed.
Like, I mean, there are many years I think Brian should have won, but I think it would have made sense for Brian to win that year. I think that would have made, like, looking at it with Brian going to AEW, I don't want to say him winning the Rumble would have changed that, but I think there is a timeline where Brian winning the Rumble doesn't lead him to going to AEW.
I agree.
I can agree with
agree.
that.
But like I've said, you know, I'm going to do something we don't normally do and go on a tangent, but like, you know, the story was always Brian and Roman. Edge had no factor in it. It's so dumb. They both do spears. Wow, you both have shitty finishers. Cool, let's fight over it. Like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? Like, oh God, Edge had no part in that. Brian Reigns, that's the story. Bro, Reigns' whole career was thrown off whack because he's not Daniel Bryan. The story was always right there. everything. Reigns doesn't get booed this harshly if it wasn't for Daniel Bryan.
It's absolutely true.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
I agree.
absolutely
Like that's
true.
the story. The same way Ronda only got booed because of Becky Lynch. Like, Reigns was getting booed because it's not Daniel Bryan, because it wasn't Reigns' time, it was Bryan's time.
He won a
Story was
Rumble.
always there. Edge had no part in it because Edge is another one of these veterans who's just like, well, I don't get why fans boo Roman Reigns. Like, it's just a cool thing to do. Like, oh, I could work with Roman Reigns. I could get him cheered, or I can do this. Like, no, bro, you're not on Roman Reigns' level. As sad as that is to say, like, you were never a credible challenger. Like, it's
Wait, no, ever.
bro. He's like Edge is a B tier legend in terms of like he's not going to be the one to beat Roman Reigns.
Okay.
It's not believable in the slightest. It's not even like a big feather in Reigns' cap. Like, he's beaten John Cena already. Edge was never on Cena's level. It's not the same. It's
There are
the
some
same
hurtful
thing as,
things
like,
being
when I was
said
saying,
right now.
who
He has
wants-
beat Cena though.
Cool. Like, a lot of people have, but like he's still not. He was never the guy. Cena was the guy. Reigns was the guy. It makes sense why they would feud. Edge was never the guy. If Edge was feuding with Seth, that made sense because Seth is, the secondary like top guy, whereas like
And Seth tried to murder him.
recently Edge has tried to murder way more people. So like it's about time he's on the other end of the attempted murder. It was a bad idea, Edge winning that Rumble.
Yeah, no, what I was gonna say was you're right about Roman getting booed because he isn't Daniel Bryan. I mean, he won a Rumble. They brought the fucking Rock out, and he still got booed. Like, I think that was so bad. That one, you can add that one to probably one of the worst Rumbles I think ever. That one sucked.
It was
It
really
really
bad.
did.
It's
was
not
bad.
even that Roman won. It's not even that Roman won. It
It's
was
a lot that he won, though.
No. I truly, I
It's
think
a lot that he won.
it was how badly
It's
that
so
was
much
booked.
that he won.
No. Hear the whole thing, because people were pissed that he won. But do you remember just how every moment there was a spark of hope? They had Big Show and Kane just fucking tag team them and throw them the fuck
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Ambrose got unceremoniously disposed of. Bray Wyatt got, like, who's a bad guy, got just tag teamed by Big Show and Kane, and it was just toppled over the rope. It was always going to be booed because Roman won, but it was a bad Rumble because of how poorly they booked it. The Authority, those two specifically, had too much of a presence in that match.
Do you remember how loudly everyone cheered Rusev when he came out from under the ring?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh,
he was
yeah.
a serious heel back then. I think he was still in like the midst of Russia, like Rusev.
No,
Oh
he
my-
was League of Nations or stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my bad. But he was still
Maybe.
like getting
No.
No, he wasn't. No. It was before League of Nations, but he wasn't like the serious, like, badass he was.
Wait, no, are you sure?
Right?
Because
because was he Intercontinental Champion or US Champion yet?
Roman won going into WrestleMania 31,
And
and
yeah, that's
Cena
the year
wrestled
Cena-
Rusev.
yeah.
So that was like,
that. Yeah,
Oh
that
yeah,
was,
so he was US Champion at that point. Then
he wrote to the
Yeah.
Russian Federation, Rusev. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was Putin's favorite son, Rusev.
Oh, so that was right before League of Nations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Also-
was getting insanely booed, and everyone was like, "Let's fucking go!" And then he just got dumped over, and it didn't matter.
Yeah, and not that anyone's bringing this up or arguing this point, but hypothetically, or anyone watching this, or whatever, because I'm so sick of hearing this. This is another thing dumbass legends like Road Dogg or X-Pac say, where they're like, "Oh, the year before everyone was cheering for Roman Reigns when
Nope.
he was in the final two."
No, they
Bro,
weren't.
if we were cheering against Batista, it's not the same thing. It could have been literally anyone. The same way Rusev got cheered in 2015. Granted, we would end up cheering Rusev like crazy a year later, but like, it's just because he was there. It's not because we won. If he won, it actually would have been so dumb if he won that Rumble. Like, it just wouldn't have made any sense. But it's just he was the guy left over. It wasn't like.
Especially after everyone had booed every entrance for like 20 minutes because it wasn't Daniel Bryan. Like, was that the year Ray got booed?
Yeah, that was the year. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was the year
like
Ray got booed.
everyone was getting booed because they weren't Daniel Bryan. But
Yeah.
on the flip side of that, though, I always wonder what would happen if Bryan was actually were actually won that Rumble like everybody wanted. Like, I don't think we get the same great storyline we do.
No, we don't. We don't. But again,
well,
I don't think it's as good.
We do. We were already at that point. Like,
no, we were and we weren't, because the thing is, we were still going to get Bryan versus the Authority. It would have been Bryan versus Randy, but
no, it was going to be Bryan versus Sheamus again.
No, I'm saying in this hypothetical of Bryan winning the Rumble.
Okay.
Yeah, in this hypothetical of Bryan winning the Rumble, we would have gotten Bryan versus Randy straight up, no Batista.
Mhm.
And
No Triple H match in the beginning.
no Triple H match.
card.
And I think Bryan would have been cheered no matter what. But I don't think you get the Miracle on Bourbon Street like story that you get from him taking on Triple H earlier in the night and him beating both Batista and Randy. Like, don't get me wrong, I wanted Bryan winning that Rumble. I remember when he lost the Elimination Chamber the month after, I almost jumped from the second floor of my college townhouse. I was not happy. But hindsight, chicken shit was turned into chicken salad. And it wasn't because WWE had this grand story. It was because we kept pushing them back on it.
Mhm.
But I do think you lose a little bit of that magic of just the clean way of getting there. Like Bryan, I don't think
not
you
a
had
clean way again. Well,
him winning the Rumble. Him winning the Rumble would be the clean way. But like, I don't think you then get what was it after when Bryan occupied Raw?
Yeah.
Like, that is a career moment for Bryan, and you lose that if he wins the Rumble.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
He should have won the next year for 31. It should have been Bryan versus Brock.
Well, see, I agree to an extent of what you're saying, but I don't like, because it's like WWE's shitty revisionist history where it's like,
Yeah.
well, look, everything worked out. The same way it's like, I hear people like, oh, well, if Sheamus didn't fucking beat Bryan in 18 seconds, it's like, bro, like those people already had those yes signs in the crowd. Like, so he already was over it. And like, for me, the second where they had the title unification ceremony before TLC the month before, and the crowd wouldn't stop cheering for Bryan no matter what they did.
Yep.
Like, that was it. So it would have still had that's the magic. That's why people were getting booed for not being Daniel Bryan in that Rumble, because it was already all there. The only magic we really miss out on is the Triple H match. Like, and that does suck, because that was the best match of Triple H's career, and I'm easily like, despite, you could argue like some of the crazy hardcore matches like with Mick Foley.
Yeah, I was gonna say Foley.
Like,
I was gonna say Cactus Jack.
But like, even now, like looking at Foley's state of being as a person, maybe those weren't the best matches, but like that's the only thing we miss out on, is having a good Triple H match for once. And even then, we only got that because Punk left. Like, that's not even like a direct correlation. That's literally like and I think people accuse Chris Jericho of doing this, and I kind of agree, but I think Triple H was also doing it sometime, where it's like, you're just attaching yourself to the hottest act, so you still seem like a hot act or like an important act. Like,
yeah, no, absolutely.
Oh yeah, he's been doing that for years.
Yeah, and it's like, so Triple H is going to do that regardless. It's going to be a Punk and, whatever. But I don't know. I still think everything would have worked out just as well, and it still would be an all-time great Mania, because it is an all-time great Mania. But, when we say things like, oh, like it worked out for the best and shit, like, we're almost letting WWE off the hook. And I just want to make sure that we're not.
Oh, never. In this instance, for me, never. I will never give them any credit for it other than actually finally breaking.
As they should have, though.
Yeah, as they should have.
And earlier, as you guys said, because who the fuck wants to see Batista versus Randy Orton in a Mania?
I will never forget that the lead up to that Mania, they had Randy with the 2 titles.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Brock in the ring and Batista in the ring. And I remember being a Ruthless Aggression era kid, never really getting Batista versus Brock, and being so hyped at the aspect of Batista versus Brock at 30. And it just didn't matter. Instead, the streak was broken and dreams were killed.
Yeah. All right, we've gotten very off topic here, but hey, it was all Rumble related, and it was all
We
very
we don't go on
discourse.
tangents here.
Yeah, we don't go on
here.
tangents. So I would like to do my favorite Royal Rumbles. We already discussed one of them, which was 2020. I have two honorable mentions. One being 92, just because Ric Flair won, and we only won because Hogan decided to be a heel, even though he wasn't heel.
Oh yeah, for the title.
Yeah, that was
for the
indeed
actual
for the title.
Yeah.
97 with Stone Cold sitting on the top of the ropes, just looking at his fake watch, waiting for people to come out as he eliminated them one by one for like an hour. That's always fun to watch. But one of my favorite all-time Rumbles is 16. Triple H wins from 30.
Get the fuck out of here.
Wait.
It's just because the Styles debut.
Well, I was gonna say I had 30 in the Reddit Square Circle pool, so I won, and I was thrilled. And I still have my reward in my back pocket to brag in a live thread. But yes, AJ Styles debuted.
Triple H should not have won that match.
It was just funny. Honestly, I also thought it was really funny. And that was also the year we mentioned earlier when Ambrose and Owens had that match, the last man standing match, and they were both in the Rumble for a really long time. So yeah, the end wasn't great for most people. I just think it's hilarious that Triple H won that. Excuse me. I thought it was just absolutely hilarious, especially because I had number 30 in the pool. But I loved watching that Rumble.
Your defense, the Rumble wasn't bad. It was the winner.
Yeah, the Rumble was good.
Like 2012.
Yeah.
Also, I think
the whole Wyatt family, the whole Wyatt family was in it together, and they were just tossing people out, and then Bray showed up. Like, there was a lot of good stuff in that Rumble. It was just people hate the end.
I think that Rumble directly ties into what I literally just said about like Triple H tying on to like something that's hot, like to make himself seem more important. Like Triple H got cheered like crazy for winning that Rumble, but it wasn't because we liked Triple H, it was because Roman Reigns didn't win.
Yes,
and
that's why I love it
because literally glomming on to something to get him cheered, to like give the illusion that it's cool and good that he won the title.
And there's sometimes tends to be a Mandela effect about that match, because I've seen people think, oh yeah, when Triple H eliminated Roman to win, when the reality was he eliminated Roman and then there was still Ambrose in the match.
That's who I wanted to win that match.
Even as a Roman fan, I was cheering for Ambrose. Do it, because you could have killed two birds with one stone.
Yep.
You could have had Triple H eliminate Roman, and then you still they could have their match, the two of them, and then you could have Ambrose as WWE champion.
Yep.
You know what? And the even worse thing about that, because, okay, so Roman versus Triple H is not a match that should ever happen. Because why? Like, one, you can't force the anti-authority thing on Roman Reigns. He's the epic guy. Like, no one's ever going to buy it. It doesn't work ever. There's never a scenario in which it works. And two, like, I remember arguing with, I know Nick Maniotis in the scoop, and I forgot who else, but like, I didn't like Seth versus Triple H at WrestleMania 33. I thought it was actually kind of boring. It was a standard Triple H match. I thought it kind of dragged it down. But also, it felt so unimportant because Roman already beat Triple H the year before, and that was the main event. It's like, how could you care about this match where the story should have been between Seth and Triple H, because, the authority and Seth being the first NXT champion, like, that is a good story, ruined literally because to me, Mania to Mania booking matters. Like, that's a thing to me, and that is important. And that's why, like, I'd argue, like, Alexa Bliss is, like, someone who is a somewhat big star because she went from Mania to Mania as champion. Granted, she lost it in between that time, but, like, she went into 2 different Manias as a champion. And, like, or AJ Styles is a star because he's booked strongly at Manias, and he's always had big Mania matches. So, like, Mania to Mania things matter. So Triple H, like, going from main eventing in a terrible match, I assume terrible, I never watched it, but a terrible match with Roman, to then having a mediocre match with Seth is like, thank God he had the fucking mixed tag with Ronda and Kurt, like, and Stephanie the year after to, like, bring them back.
Don't give me anything Triple H after, like, 2010.
Yeah, oh my God, bro, like, I'm so glad that Triple H hasn't really been wrestling at WrestleMania. Maybe, James, I don't know if you agree with this or not, but I was livid that we had to sit through that Triple H Batista match being there live.
Oh yeah,
It came
no, it
on
was
way
rough.
too late. It was way too long. I left. I went to the merch stands. I went to the
Trash.
bathroom. I went to get food, and I went to the bathroom again. And that match was still fucking going. I was so mad.
So
the only reason I never left during, I'll let whoever go. It's just I knew it was going to be Batista's last match, and I don't dislike him the way you do. I do think he's.
I don't dislike him either. I just don't think he's that good. I'm very like neutral to Batista because I missed his like hot streak and his rise.
I get that,
So,
but yeah, no, that match was ass.
So they didn't give you what you wanted?
Get out. Yeah, you started the anger already, by the way, because of your fucking Rumble pick, and I'm sorry that I'm trying to invalidate you because your opinion matters.
I didn't pick her. I did not pick Charlotte. I just said it was the darkest timeline.
No, 2016 as a Rumble.
2016 Triple
I
H.
was like talking. Well, I also think I remember it fondly again because the last two guys was a win-win scenario for me. If Ambrose won, I was going to be fucking thrilled. If Triple H won, I won the pool. So I don't know. There was a lot of other funny shit in that match. The League of Nations took Roman out for like half an hour. Like I don't know.
yeah, that was one of the
League of Nations
problems,
was
is that
an
he was
underrated
sleeping
stable.
for most of the match.
I don't know. I thought it was entertaining. It was also one of the first like Rumbles I can actually remember buying. So I don't know. I had a good time.
So
with
you
it.
have other things that are influencing your fondness of the match. That, like, I don't know. 2012 also sucked, Chad. I don't know what you're on about. It was...
I liked the match. I hated the winner.
Also, was it following the 2016 Rumble? Didn't that lead to Triple H versus Ambrose at Roadblock, which was a really good match?
It was, but it's more of a, hey, here's the thing you really want, but we're really doing the thing we want. Fuck you.
Yeah.
You're not getting Brian in the situation again. Fuck you. You're never getting what you want again until like 2019.
I know, but it was like in a bubble. That was a good match. So, if I'm not
should have been the main event of Mania. It was way better than the main event of Mania.
Yeah.
I assume again because I didn't watch it because you can't force me to watch Roman Reigns WrestleMania main event. Just not do it. I did the one with Brian and Edge because Brian was in it. Otherwise, not doing it. I'm not watching him versus Brock at Mania. Like I'm turning off the show. And even if we're doing a live reaction after, I'm not watching that match.
That is a bathroom break match, but yeah.
The main event of WrestleMania is a bathroom break match. You heard it here, folks. Live, semi on the Mark It Down podcast. We've gone way too long, so I'm shutting this down. Least, right? We are currently at hour 58 and a half. So thank you, everybody.
My bad. This is a lot, mostly my fault. I was really talkative tonight. I don't know why.
Well, we were celebrating my birthday. But we don't go on
It's a Rumble special. If a Rumble could go an hour, we can go too.
And there's 2 Rumbles. That makes sense.
Yeah. And I just let you guys go because it led to a lot of good stuff. Welcome back to the future, everybody. I hope you all enjoyed that as much as we did. I would like to thank you all so much for watching the Mark It Down podcast. Please be sure to like and subscribe. We do have episodes every week. Well, almost every week. We did obviously forget to put that one out, but they pretty much come out every week. We're also live on Wednesdays after Dynamite, recapping that. Danny's Raw Fast Forward will be returning soon, as will James's Gym Pack Zone on Thursdays. I don't really know about Chad's NXT. He doesn't really like it as much as he used to, so we'll see. Also, be sure to check out all of our social media stuff below. Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and a very robust Instagram run by Danny. So be sure to check out all the content over there. There's some good stuff there, including some stuff that James got from the House of Glory show over this past weekend that you should definitely check out. Before I go, from everybody here at the Mark It Down podcast, I would like to wish everybody a very happy and healthy holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. For those of you who celebrate Festivus, I got a lot of problems with you people, and you're going to hear about it on Friday. So be sure to enjoy that day as well. So like I said, enjoy your holidays, be happy, and we will catch you here next time on the Mark It Down podcast. Have a good one, everyone.